Hey there, let's use the 7 Wise Physical Well-Being exercise to supersize your business. Horne-Ellstrom here. Let's talk about this great tool today and how you can use it to build and grow and supersize your business. I like to think of it as getting down to the root motivation, the root intention of why I'm doing something in any area and aspect of my life. This month we're focusing on physical health and well-being, so we're applying it to our business. What are all the physical, actual things we can touch or wish we could touch in our business? If we're an online business, it's slightly different than if we're an offline business, but every one of our businesses has physical components and aspects to it. At least we are a physical being and component and part of our business. Even if we're a solopreneur, we have to take into account our physical health and well-being, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, there will be no one to run the business. So 7Y exercise. Learned this from Dean Graziosi in 2020. I remember it because 2020 was a crazy year, right? January 2020, beginning of the new year, I was launching some things online and doing some things online. Fortunately for me, because the pandemic hit the week of my birthday. Actually, the day before my birthday was the announcement of, hey, we're going to be shutting down for 2 weeks. Get your ducks in a row because you're going to be locked down. It turns out it was more like 2 years than 2 weeks, at least in my area, in my life. But again, I was already online doing things, so everybody was at home paying attention. Because a lot of, not everybody, but billions of people were displaced and out of their normal routines and were looking for something to keep them going and busy. I noticed as throughout that time, 2020, people's yards and houses and things had never looked better. Their projects, their reading lists, their books, their personal development, if they so choose to do that, skyrocketed. People that made changes and found ways to keep moving forward during that period flourished. People that just decided to watch the news and wait it out languished, and a lot of those businesses went out of business forever. Which is super sad in my book, because I believe, and I've shared for a long time now, that we need to have both an offline and an online presence and the ability to be flexible in whatever we're doing, so that when things happen that are out of our control or that we didn't anticipate, because I don't know about you, but I never anticipated living in a global pandemic the way it was handled. So that's why I share these tools. That's why I do the challenge, is to make sure that we are prepared for the unexpected, right? For the things we just couldn't even have imagined or anticipated, because apparently they can happen. So today we're using the 7Y exercise, learned from Dean Graziosi, 2020, January. He got it from a mastermind group that he was a part of. And it's a extended take on a pretty well-used older exercise called the 5Y exercise, where you just ask yourself the question why, and it only works on yourself or for your own businesses. You can, like I always say this because it's so true. Other people don't often understand why they do things. So how on earth are we expected to understand why they do? We aren't. We're never going to understand it. Look at things that happen in the news and in the media, or the way media twists the things that happen in the world. We don't understand. We really don't understand why. We could guess, we can assume. That always makes a you-know-what out of you and me, so I don't like to do that either. But this is a great tool to use on ourselves, on our own lives, in our own businesses, and in the things that we actually have control over, not the things that we just wish we had control over. So all we do is we ask ourselves, why do I want the physical condition or the physical well-being or the physical health of my business? Why is it important to me? Why is it important that our facilities are in good shape or excellent shape, whatever is appropriate for the situation? And then we ask ourselves, well, why is that important? Well, why that? And then why that? And we go down 7 layers deep asking that question. And I like to ask the question, and then whatever pops into my head first, write that down, and then ask why on that. And then if it seems weird, I can go back and do the whole exercise again. It does not take a long time. If I write down the first thing that pops into my head, you can knock this off like literally in a minute or two, and then see what comes up. And the most amazing thing happens. We break through all the stories that we tell ourselves, all the excuses, all the things that we think other people want to hear, and we get down to the real root and core of what's important to us. And it usually boils down to a few things depending on the nature of you. And sometimes those are things that happened when we were children that don't even apply to us or our businesses anymore. And so we get to then ask ourselves if that's something that we still believe or is important to us. A lot of times we just get an enlightened story and understanding of why we have a belief or why something's important to us. And we get to ask ourselves, is this really important to me as an adult, owning, operating, and running my own business that I want to grow and build and supersize? And if the answer is no, we let it go. If the answer is yes, we build on that, because that's a driver and a motivation that will keep us going and resilient and consistent on the days when we just don't feel like doing the things that we know we want to do to create the business that we want and to make the world a better place. So what are we doing today? We are getting a piece of paper, numbering it 1 through 7, putting the question we want to ask across the top, and then when you're done with this, you can burn it or throw it away or do whatever you want with it if you don't want anyone else to see it. But the power of doing it is for you. It's not for anyone else. It's for you. And see what comes up. I challenge you to do this today for your business. See what comes up and be brave and share in the comments below at least how you experience and if you had any aha moments about doing this exercise. Just put yes, it was really enlightening. Realize if you want to share, because that's so powerful to share what we uncover, because it helps other people to do the same. All right. Any questions about this? Literally done this exercise tens of thousands of times for myself and with other people. So if you need help with this, just ask. Otherwise, go out, make it an amazing day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.